Welcome to Under the Influence. I'm Amy Marietta.
I'm Marish Cali-Chelva. Our next guest is a boss bitch.
Melissa Andre is a celebrity creative consultant, event planner, brand owner, and superwoman based in Beverly Hills and Toronto. Melissa's areas of expertise spans from brand collaborations, art direction, and events ranging from private celebrity weddings to music album release parties and many, many more. Her aesthetic attracts a huge roster including The Weeknd, Drake, GQ, Victoria Beckham, Beyonce, Google, Reebok, Instagram, and many, many more, boo. Hey guys, today we have Melissa with us. Hey girl.
Hi. Hi. What's up? What have you been doing?
What haven't I been doing?
I haven't seen you in maybe 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah, a long time. I've been traveling.
Yes.
We've had events all over the place in Mexico and Dallas, Toronto, New York. So
cheers to that, though.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yes.
That last wedding, though?
Yeah. I know.
Oh my God, she showed me
I know. It was
Magic.
out of control.
Crazy.
I know. Sometimes I have a
Huge budget.
well, quite often, but I was like, wow, we're so good at this, one of those. I was like, wow,
Yeah, right?
We are
how
white.
the first question I wanted to ask you is, how did you start your company?
Well, the interesting thing about event production is that there's very low barrier to entry. You don't need a lot of startup capital. All you need is some people who are kind of willing to take a chance on you or not, whatever. And that's really how I started. I had been working in event production, but for a fashion brand in New York. And I wanted to do my own thing, and I had a lot of aesthetics that I wanted to explore that I knew I wasn't going to get to, and so many ideas that I wanted to execute on, and I wanted a bit more freedom to be able to, take on different projects. So I just kind of started my company and was like, hey, I'm going to do this on my own. So I moved back to Toronto, and then, convinced 1 or 2 people and I had a lot of experience in event production, but not, under my own name. And then, I think that first year, maybe I did 3 projects that were small, and then the next year I had 60. So it was
60?
just, it was really just about using, the quality of your work as your business card. I didn't have ads or an agent or press or anything. Yeah, I mean, mainly just using your work, as your business card,
right.
And kind of doing things that are kind of so undeniably, professional and well executed, and that people talk about and look different and feel different and give people all those feelings that they want to get when they go to parties, which is what I was, really after. I was really wow, I feel like parties should kind of be like this, and they should be a little bit more.
Do you critique parties when you go to parties now?
I don't even get invited to parties. I was just
shut up.
I was just with my family, and they were like, "Oh, everyone, see you at this person's wedding." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was not. Literally, everyone was invited except for me.
No.
And I was like, "That is totally a mistake."
Because they probably think that you would critique every single thing.
I'm
not letting Melissa on the list.
I know.
Because I know I'm doing all of this wrong. And
no. I love going to parties that I'm not planning. It's so fun. You're chill. Sometimes I get a little bit nervous.
You do?
Because when you're at a party and it's your party and you know what's going to happen next. And I was like, what is supposed to happen? Like a canapé could come out or an elephant could come out. I don't know, because it's not my party. I can't take the stress of not knowing. But then I was also like, oh my God, it's raining. Not my problem, one of those. So it's I have a whole roller coaster of emotions when I go to other people's parties. But very rarely is it I would have done this, because I'm just going through so many other feelings that I don't get to the one where I'm this could have been better. I'm like, wow, look at this, all this stuff going wrong, and I don't even have to care. Or I'm I feel very nervous that I don't know what is about to happen next. Those are the 2 that I swap between.
So with the first event that you'd ever done, compared to just the recent event that you did,
So
how have
embarrassing.
you changed, and how has your taste changed in terms of like the things that you pick out, or you've had, let's start with the first question. Like, how has it changed from the first event to the recent one?
Right. So my taste has developed, obviously, and I think that that's like a muscle that you can work on. And I mean, I think that it's largely intuitive, but I do know for certain that you can develop it. So that has changed a little bit, but in general, my, aesthetic is like very playful, but also very luxurious and like very unexpected, but quite like still high end and like a little bit avant-garde. Like it's definitely like almost like the anti-party aesthetic, I think, which now has become way more mainstream, and I think people are like very inspired, but whatever.
Wait,
But
do you use Pinterest for your inspiration, or more like real life experiences or travel? Or
definitely travel. Some Pinterest. Pinterest is better for me to sometimes help explain to a client what I'm thinking, because sometimes when I'm like, don't worry, it's gonna be great and it's gonna feel like outer space, they're like, no, I'm worried, or whatever. They're not that worried usually, but so sometimes I try and like, okay, it's gonna like kind of be like these 50 things put together, but better. So I use it for that. But my taste is largely the same, but the biggest difference is that 10 years ago, I didn't even really understand how much you could like, that I could do.
Right.
Like 10 years ago, I really didn't think that I was like, that I could walk into a 5-diamond hotel and be like, I hate your floor. I want this floor. Because I didn't have like that
credibility yet?
I didn't have like that confidence yet that I could be like, when they're like, do you love our new floor? We just spent $3 million on it. In my head, I was like, I hate your floor, but I was like, I don't think that's what I'm supposed to say. So I'd be like, I can work with it. And now I'm like, I've said it so many times. I realize nothing bad happens. So that's sometimes what it takes, is being like saying, I hate your floor like 50 times. And you're like, nothing bad happened. Like, they didn't kick me out. I'm still allowed to go to like XYZ hotel. And then, that's like the really big difference, I think, is I was more kind of cautious with spaces and other people's work, because I was like, I'm not trying to like pop in and be like, I hate everything, and now I'm really like, what the best part is? We can cover everything. Or I'm like, what the best part is? I hate everything, so we don't need to use any of it. We can, and I have like so many examples of how well that's gone. The first couple times that I was like, I think we should rip up this. They're like, I think you're insane. And now I'm like, and look at all these times. And they're like, wow, what a before and after, right? So that is like the biggest.
Now, have they
difference.
like the places that you've gone and said, I hate this, and then you
they love it.
put in like this wonderful freaking
like
event,
mirrored floor or whatever.
Yeah. So
they love
it. Have they ever kept it and said, hey, I want you to? No, I want to keep this.
I know, I would never allow such a thing. So I feel like for my clients, I want it to be like special. I'm like, it's coming right up. Whatever. But they have done something, like I've tented certain spaces. I've gone to a venue and said, and they're like, and this is the ballroom. And I'm like, well, it sucks. But here, oh my God, this parking lot is like incredible. And like the view from the parking lot is like, we're going to do a thing. And then next thing I know, there's like, that's what they're selling. They're like, charging to like rent this parking lot. And, so that happens, obviously. But not that much, because it still takes like a certain type of client to be like, okay, guess we're having this party in a parking lot. It does take like a little bravery, which like my clients definitely have. I don't think people like sign on with me and they're like, you know what I really want? Something I've totally seen before. We don't, have that much. So usually they're like, a braver client.
Oh, that's
I like to think they are.
They trust you.
they trust you.
Oh, I hope so. I think so. Or I'm like bullying them, the whole way through. I'm like, this is going to be great. And they're like, oh my
No,
God.
I think that your work speaks for itself.
I hope so. I hope so. That's the nice thing about our industry is like, there's such a visual representation that's like, how are you even, going to argue with it? It's not like I'm saying it was great and then they're like, show me. And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, it was great. Look at this.
And another great thing is word of mouth, because people will go to your events and parties and then
Yeah.
tell everyone how amazing it was.
Yeah.
And just like how well done. I feel like word of mouth is probably so big for you, right?
The last wedding that I did in Dallas was incredible. And I did this wedding last year for an artist, and it was like in a forest, and it was like life-changingly beautiful. It was so freaking beautiful. And I'm not swearing.
You can swear.
You can swear.
So fucking
I mean, we're
beautiful.
gonna-
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It was fucking glam. And this guest came up to me and she's like, oh my God, I knew this was a Melissa Andre wedding. And she's like, I have to be the only person who's
that's
ever been to 2 Melissa Andre weddings. I was like, I've been to plenty of them. I'm like, other than me though, yeah. And it was like so great. Just, yeah.
Can you
nice.
name
So cute.
your top clients?
Yeah, I've worked with Victoria Beckham, which is like amazing. I've worked with like Louis Vuitton and Drake, The Weeknd, DJ Khaled, Future.
How is it dealing with
Reebok.
clients like that and then dealing with bridezillas?
I don't have any bridezillas. My brides are fucking glam. I honestly don't have that many bridezillas. Like the 2 weddings that I was just talking to you about that were like mind blowing, the brides were like best friends. Like I'm obsessed with them. And they were both like, do you, like shut it down? And I did.
Oh, yeah.
I shut it down. No, it was great. So I don't have that many bridezillas because I think that when people kind of like picture a bridezilla, I feel like they picture like that bride that's like, what? These are ivory. I said a crew or, whatever. And I feel like my brides are like, I don't know, ask Melissa.
I also think it's because it shows in your personality and also like you're so candid in like the way you speak to them and just
Right.
make them feel so comfortable.
Right.
Like they've known you for so long that it is so easy for someone to trust you, be like, yes, do exactly whatever you want.
Oh, thank
I
God.
know that,
Yeah.
it would be freaking awesome.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people, when they think of bridezillas, speaking, you can speak more than I, I don't know, but they always say that, like, the brides are just so crazy in terms of just stress makes them so insanely crazy.
Right.
So that's why, like, it's always like a question like, have you ever had a bridezilla before?
Well, you probably
Right.
handle everything, so it's
So-
also less pressure.
Yeah.
But sometimes handling everything produces, I'm not going to say bridezilla, but a stressed out bride.
Right.
Because I think they have these moments where they feel great about hiring us and they are like great, and then they like go to their Thanksgiving dinner and their like cousin is like, oh my God, babe, what are you doing for your escort cards? And they're like, I don't know. They're like, oh fuck, I don't know. I think she said like it was gonna be like, I don't know, a whatever. And they're like, what? What is that? And they're like, I don't know. I don't actually know. Sometimes like they get like a little bit nervous of that, where they like can't articulate and
Yeah.
they need to, be like, I'm not fucking handling that. I'm at the spa. I don't know. Rather than being like, oh no, I don't know, So there's just like, but I get it's a long process, and
How long
there's
does it usually
like
take?
well, this last wedding that I did was only 2 months. I don't want to say that out loud
fast.
because don't call me 60 days before. I don't want to do a wedding in 60 days with full-scale production outside of the city. But
And it did. How long did it take you to do the wedding? Like
it
to
took
set up?
60 days, but it took about 4 or 5 days to set up, which is like
4
very
or 5 days to set up.
yeah, which is very common. It's like almost
Does it?
building
Yeah.
a house. Yeah, I mean, with what we do, yeah, it's like building a house. Like this wedding that we did in this like forest, we had to like move trees and build roads. Like we started 3 weeks before.
What?
So this is like not
That's so
even.
natural.
I don't
Wait,
even
which
know.
forest? Like,
It was like they own it.
Oh, they own it.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
like
It was
California.
no. But it was just like so magical, you
Right.
know, when there isn't even really an address to put on the invitation. So I don't even know if really what I do is even wedding planning at this point, right?
Right,
Because
it's
it's like
not.
when you learn how to plan a wedding, it's like this is how you put the info on the invitation, and we're literally like, okay, there is no address.
Right.
I'm building a road. Do we name it? Do I stand
Is
there?
there
Do I
Wi-Fi?
flag
That's
people
all I was saying,
in?
Wi-Fi.
We bring it.
You brought
we
Wi-Fi?
have it set up
great.
in the
That's
forest.
awesome.
Yeah, so
That's
these are
awesome.
like, you know, a lot of what we're doing is definitely not party planning. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Above and beyond.
most definitely above and beyond.
Outside of your event production, fabulous boss bitch shit, what other companies do you have and you want to talk about?
Because we know, but we want everyone else to
I
know.
know.
Rhetorical question.
Yes.
So officially we have Melissa Andre Design Company, which then has all, you know, these little arms, which is obviously production, event production, and then installations and you know, kind of artistic installations that can be in a home or a private event or whatever it is. So that's almost like, you know, a party without food and music, you know, so, which is great. And there's no valet. So, but more or less it's the same. And then we have a shop. And we have a floral line that's in Toronto and New York and Los Angeles and Miami. And we do a lot of like giftable items, so we're really busy at like Valentine's Day and Mother's Day and birthdays,
Yeah.
and it's like all very kind of special, beautiful blooms products. And
You guys do the roses that don't really, they last like a year or something, right?
no, we don't. We do fresh roses.
Okay, so I saw the boxes and they look like the ones that last forever.
Well,
Yeah,
I
but
think
they
that
smell
because
forever. No,
it's
Trish.
pave,
Yeah.
that some, you know, people think that, but they aren't that. Just because I think with a lot of our clientele, I tried to kind of develop products that I know that they would have in their home, right? So if I'm, you know, I've done flowers for Victoria Beckham, so if I'm gonna gift her an item, it's going to be fresh, it's going
Yeah.
to smell like fresh
flowers.
flowers.
Smell,
It's
yeah.
true luxury because
Right.
it dies,
Yeah.
you know? It's like almost like an event. It's
Yeah.
like a moment in time, and if you were there, you were there, and maybe you got to see photos and videos, but really that magic is if you were the 200 people in that room, right? And that's why we take everything down and we don't keep it, and if we reuse it, we change it a lot, is because that's like kind of the magic of what we do, and that's what
Yeah.
makes it special. And that's how I feel about flowers too, is like you gift them and then they bloom for you and then they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, and you do it again with a different bloom or a different color, a different aesthetic, a different vessel, and that's kind of the magic. But when we designed the bloom box, I was just kind of conscious about making, you know, a product with a material that was very high end and that you could really put in someone's home. So for me to put, you know, a vessel in someone's home, like having like a cardboard vessel or whatever, just wouldn't really fit with like the fact that I'm practically like making rainbows appear at your party, you know? Like I can't then be like, here's a cardboard box with like, you know, a embalmed like flower, you know, like that. It just isn't right that's glued or whatever. It isn't right for our client, I don't think, or for me, for my personal aesthetic. And it's just like about aesthetic. If your focus is like, I want something there forever, or your focus is like, you know, the value of like a premium flower that's like really blooming and like has that smell and like has a stem, you know, like a real stem and real water, and you know, so we do a fresh flower.
natural.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go back to the question that was half before because it's still stuck in my head because you know Melissa tried to like skip away in answering the question.
I did.
So whose wedding was it in the forest? Can you tell us?
God.
Yeah, and I want to know where the forest was. Can you tell us? Like what country?
I definitely can't give like addresses or locations, but
Like U.S., Brazil.
it was Dead Mouse's wedding.
Oh, Dead
Yeah,
Mouse.
so his name is Joel,
that makes sense.
and his wife's name is Kelly, and yeah, we're all very good friends. I'm seeing them next week.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm
That
going
was
to.
the first rave I went to.
Oh, great! Oh, they're great.
in
They're
downtown.
fantastic. I just love them. They're fantastic.
Can you talk about what the next upcoming event that you're going to do?
We have something for Beyonce coming up next week.
Ooh.
I know I can't say.
Super exciting news.
Yeah, I can't say that much more yet, but we have that coming up.
Is this the first time you're working with her?
I've done flowers for her. Yeah, and
She smiled at
people
me at the
have-
Diddy party, and I will always remember it.
She's just incredible.
Just like melted.
my white girl moment.
Oh God, she's just like you know,
She's
it's like her universe, and we're just Martians looking in on it or whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about, but so we have that coming up, and then we're expanding our line to some other things you'll be able to get for parties and stuff on our shop. So, we'll give you a taste of everything. Maybe when that happens, we'll do like a tablescape or
Yes.
something.
Yes.
Let's do that.
Yeah. We'll walk through all that. And what else? We just have like projects kind of happening all over. We're doing a women's dinner series.
Wait,
with
is it
Sway
called-
Media.
Oh, there's so many of those popping up. I love it. It's so good for women.
This one's gonna be incredible. So we're doing that in New York and LA. Yeah, and then kind of more private, weddings and stuff, which I can usually talk about after. Not yet. Just in case, people.
Just in case.
Typically, they're, an artist or celebrity's profile is so big, but their guest list is like 100 people.
Right.
So it's.
That's better, though.
I mean, it's so nice and so intimate. But
Do you
that's
like
also
doing
why.
more intimate weddings or any event that is more intimate compared to like so many people on the guest list, like, the Weeknd?
Were you at that friggin'?
Yes.
Oh my God, that was
So-
the worst day of my life.
So all of a sudden, like the party shuts down. Like
I wish it shut down. It was meant to shut down.
meant to shut down, and then we were still partying.
Joking. Yeah, it was a Grammy party.
It was a Grammy party.
that I did my team did for the Weeknd, and he had just won 2 Grammys and bought like the sick McLaren,
Yeah.
and the guest list for this party was like supposed to be 400, and like everyone was there, and it was like
The most amazing party.
everyone was
the
there.
best party.
It was
so good.
Beautiful.
You did it so fucking well. Like, it's insane. You walk into, she recreated a scene from his video where the car was upside down. So when you go,
it was like on fire.
Yeah, it was on fire. So
was
when
on
you
fire?
go, yeah. So when you go up the driveway, whatever.
roundabout.
That's the first thing that you saw.
Was that his idea?
We kind of talk about like when we onboard clients or they onboard us, like what's the right fit, what's happening right now
Right.
for an
Yeah.
artist, and like I think that was what was happening at that
Yeah.
time. Like that may even been, I have to look back, why he even probably won this Grammy or something. That's not facts. That's speculation.
Why? Because how good the video was?
And it was just like it was just such a sick video. And I was
It
like,
was
this
so
is like
good.
how people come in. Because, for a wedding, I just did Michael Crabtree's wedding, and they walk in and it's like literally heaven. Like this beautiful mirrored windy aisle that his bride totally trusted me to do. Thank God, because I was like, this really has to happen. She's
Right.
like, are you sure about this? I'm like, 100%. It has to be this, and there has to not be anything on the side of the aisle. There has to not be like a pedestal with a flower. It can't have that. There's no arch. That's not what it is. It's clean. Well, the floor will be white. replace what's there as per freaking usual, and you're gonna come up in this glass elevator and walk down this like mirrored, and everyone's gonna wait for you because what the hell else are they waiting for? It's like, but are people gonna have to wait? I'm like, yes, but who cares? Like, it's great, and then she walked to the front, and all of this decor was above, and it was heaven. There was like beautiful clouds and these like crystal raindrops that had these like beautiful patterns, and it was like the most.
How do you come up with these ideas?
Yeah, do you like dream about it in your sleep?
Someone said that to me when they were like, oh, is this what you dreamed of? And then the night before I'd had this like awful dream of like I was in like this fight with my girlfriend, my best friend Jacqueline, and I was like, no, this is like kind of me when I'm awake. When I'm asleep, I'm having like a full nightmare about like I forgot this, I'm like fighting with this person, I forgot, whatever. No, that's just kind of, the best thing about events, and a lot of people ask me to do interiors, and I do only like maybe twice a year for very, very, very special favors and clients. But the reason is because the best thing about events is that it only has to look like that for like 6 hours. And the ceremony had to look like that for 30 minutes. So you can like explore a different aesthetic and a different like mystique and a different everything like the next day.
That's the crazy. Another thing I just wanted to say, when you get married, who the fuck is going to do your wedding?
My team, for sure.
Really?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
You would like...
Yeah. I mean, I'll work with them.
No, but you're going to be crazy. Well, how are you going to do being
so
a bride
out, like,
and then also like preparing your whole wedding?
I think I don't know.
Or do you love it that it's not that stressful?
I just am not that easily stressed.
That's
I'm
good.
very like...
That's such a good quality.
Yeah.
We're like, that was me
What's
at
the
that
worst
party
that could happen?
that you were at. What is the worst? Oh my God, famous last words. I'm like, what is the worst that I'd have a scene too. There's like 1,500 people, like we're being shut down. There's no alcohol. There's no food. There's no cups.
Oh yeah, that's probably
no
the worst.
ice.
Is no
I'm
alcohol.
like, anything else? There's like firefighters.
Fights might be the worst.
Why is there 1,500 people here? I'm like,
It was crazy.
I would also like to know, sir. I would also quite like to know.
And people were still coming. It was shut down and people were still coming.
People were like hopping, like
Chris
hopping
Brown.
the
Chris
fence,
fucking
Hopping the fence?
climbing a bush, getting out of there, just walking up there.
They're like, screw this, we are going in.
Yeah, we're
And they
coming.
all came in.
Yeah, they all came in, and they would wait for like the gate to open to get people out because we were shuttling out, and then they would all come in. And I was like, there is not much I can do.
It's okay. It was the best.
It
It
was
was the best party.
And the
we still
best
talk
is-
about till today.
I get people when they're like, what do you do? And then I'm like, oh, I do, parties and stuff. And which is like, oh, very vague, And they're like, what the best party I've ever been to was? And I literally feel like I could go, yes, I do. Because I've heard this so much. I literally know what you're about to say. And they're like, oh my God.
It was
Weeknd
the best.
The Weeknd one?
The
This
Weeknd,
GQ party. I'm like, I'm glad you had
It
fun.
was, because what you did with that house was so many different things, where you had a room that was basically arcades. You had rooms that was like, you could smoke hookahs. You had rooms. It was just a different aspect of a party.
Wild.
Where when you get so bored at a party, unless if like the music isn't fun or whatever, you get so bored and you want to go.
Yeah.
But no one was bored.
No, they weren't. So much shit going
Couldn't
on.
get 'em out.
It was like, I'm surprised that no one jumped into the pool.
Same.
Surprised.
And you walked into the party on this like upper level, and you could see the whole party kind of down below, and it was like in the hills, and so of course I looked down and there's like this pool that has like this crazy ass shape. I'm like, we should retile the bottom of the pool.
You did that?
No,
Oh.
of course they did not let me, but I still.
You wanted to.
We built an EXO logo and we weighted it and we sunk it with a full scuba diving team. Sunk it in the bottom of the pool. So when you walked up and you looked down, That was it. And it was in
That's dope.
collaboration with GQ.
Yeah, it was so
they,
good.
You know, obviously are the best, and they had an amazing moment too. We had great branding.
So
from both.
great.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone that's watching you right now in creating a company and opening up a brand?
I think I would say my best advice is to only take advice from someone who has done it and someone that you really admire.
It's like finding a mentor.
Not even like even just take advice from, make sure that the person giving it to you has done it.
Yeah.
Because I think there is too much advice right now, too many voices, too many people talking, like too many self-proclaimed experts. And so I think that people are kind of like hearing a bunch of things and then choosing the advice that, you know, they want. You know, they're like, oh, this one sounds good, I'll take this one. It tells me to take a lot of days off, you know, and it tells me I should, you know, self-care 15 hours a day and, like, you know, sleep the rest of the time, you know, whatever. You know, and I was just talking to my girlfriend Janet about this, who has so many successful companies. And I was like, anytime I ask for advice from one of my girlfriends who owns a company, they're never like, nah, don't do that, sleep more. You know, they're never like, oof, that opportunity sounds amazing, but far too much work. You know, they never say that. And I never give that advice either. But, you know, I feel like there's like sometimes the advice, the point is that when I ask my very successful friends for advice, their advice isn't always what I hear buzzing around. I'm like, who gave you that advice? Because every, you know, professional, amazing, inspiring, successful person I know wouldn't give that advice.
Right.
You know, so it's really just that. I think, like, who has a quote? It's probably Kanye or something, but who's like, you know, I don't care what you would do if you, this is totally wrong. This is just the gist. I feel like I'm the only one who's finished. It was like, I don't care if you would do if you were me, you're not me. You know, that kind of thing. And you know, in reverse, you need to you know, look at people who have done it rather than, you know, someone who hasn't. I think that the best teacher is someone who's done it. Personally, there's like a lot of like those who can't do teach, like type of thing. I'm not trying to like throw anyone under the bus. Obviously,
No,
there's
true.
like people who, this is very general. There's people who give great advice, who, you know, whatever. But at the same time, I think it's safer.
I mean, the internet made it really easy for everyone to pretend to be experts.
Sure,
So, It
yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I'm like, why are we listening to you?
I know. Yeah.
What's your next phase?
I think, you know, as we do less events.
You want to do less events?
Well, we are doing less events because they're so much bigger.
Bigger.
That's the way to go.
Yeah,
with
so
everything.
because we're doing less events, because they're bigger, I want to kind of work on more things that can stay around longer than just that night. That it doesn't, like, I love that events only stick around for those couple hours. I think that makes it magical, but I think that there's other, you know, things that I might want to explore that can, you know, reach the people that weren't at the event, which is like basically everyone, you know, like some of these parties, like 100, like there was like 90 people there at that wedding that I did. So, you know, I think that maybe there's a space.
You know what I noticed that's like this new trend that's happening is all these like museums, like Museum of Illusions, which is
Right.
now like bi-coastal, and then like all these different places that are designed for photos, and they like, you know, charge people at the door, and it's these
Right.
like installations that are so crazy. I feel like you would kill that space. They should all hire you.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows? I think like that's like an interesting thing that has popped up, and
Yeah, it's crazy.
you know, you can't buy a ticket to anything that I do.
Yeah.
So, yet, you know, so that's interesting that you can just like buy a ticket,
Right.
and, like get on the list and like, you know, go on over. So yeah, I think there's like opportunity for
So much.
for lots of different things.
Do you love, since we're both from Toronto, Canadians, do you love working in Toronto better than out here, or do you love moving out to LA, which broaden your roster?
Yeah, I mean, I love Toronto. I'm so familiar with Toronto, and that's where I started my business. So I love it. The most interesting thing is that in Toronto, it's obviously very cold for half the year, and
More than half the year.
Yeah, I'm just being delicate. So
What
like,
months are good in Toronto?
I don't
for
know.
I
like
don't know.
July.
End of June,
Yeah,
July, August.
Yeah, and then it's like, woo, we don't know. So because of that, events are like a very seasonal, a seasonal business, which if you are like a full-time events person, it's like difficult operationally to, you know, manage staff and hours, and, you know, all of a sudden you have like 50 events in 3 months.
Right.
You know, so the thing about LA is like, then, you know, the seasons in LA are like award seasons because it's hot all the time. So like there is no like winter, fall. It's like, it's the Oscars. You know, are you doing any Grammy parties? You know, or whatever. So that's definitely been great because people really like to celebrate here.
All the time.
Life is a celebration.
Yeah, there's so much to celebrate here. So that's really helped, and obviously, like as we grow, you know, the scale of what we do, there's more opportunity here. Yeah. So, but I'm going back to Toronto in 3 weeks to work.
I know.
So yeah.
Tell me about the panel that you're going to speak on.
Yeah, I'm speaking on a panel called the Atelier Summit, and there's another professional who I'm friends with named Janet Zuccarini. She owns Felix, and she owns a bunch of restaurants. So Felix is in LA.
In LA, yeah.
In Venice, and she owns a bunch of restaurants in Toronto as well, and is like opening up restaurants and just basically everywhere. But her and I are speaking on it. We're like panel mates or something. We just had our call, so that's great because we hang out here. But there is like amazing panelists on that, so I'm going home to be part of that, and then I'm doing an event with SodaStream.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause I love sparkly water, but it's really about, you know, different ways to entertain and like new ideas for that, and, you know, all sorts of tips, tricks.
I love it.
what question?
Last question.
Yeah.
Who influenced you, or has influenced you,
Yeah.
or what? It doesn't have to be a person.
Person, yeah.
I am my favorite thing to read is like biographies and autobiographies of like any professional in like any field. You know, like I just read Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, which is about Nike, and I love like just everyone, like any professional in any field. Like I don't have like a direct you know, I want this person's career, so I'm gonna, you know, I think that's like a little bit limiting, being like, oh, I want this career, because then you're always behind that person, you know, and you should kind of just visualize what you want, and then, you know, kind of take the steps to get there, you know, figure it out as you go. But just like all professionals, like, you know, I love Martha Stewart, you know, and like a self-made billionaire, just like so fucking glam, you know, and
I love that she has a show with Snoop Dogg.
yeah,
I know, and I saw an interview with Snoop, and he was like, I just love her so much. And it was so genuine. It was like he wasn't making shit up.
Yeah.
It was like, I just love her so much. It was so cute.
Yeah.
But
so I love her, and I love like Kelly Wursler is like
yeah.
so talented, and so many people, like just creative
Brilliant
business
geniuses,
ladies, you know, and men, but business women.
Speaking
I
of men.
love, I don't know.
But you do. Wait, hold on. But you do hire Speak about that.
Oh yeah,
You do
I have
hire
an all-female team.
Yeah.
I have an all-girl team.
Equal pay.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I have an all-female team because I think that there's just so many talented women, and for whatever reason, I think that people in general, not everyone, are more comfortable recommending a man for a job. Like if I ask for recommendations for, you know, a lawyer, a graphic designer, a web developer, an accountant, I just kept getting men, and then when I realized that, I was like, fuck it. I'm like, no, I want a female. I want a female lawyer.
So
I want
crazy,
a female
right?
graphic designer.
Awesome.
I want it,
It's amazing.
Yeah, so it's just like an effort that we make.
That's so amazing. I love it. I love it. So, and final question. How is your dating life, your personal
I
life?
have no thing.
Drink
I
up.
drink yours.
How is your dating life in terms of like your busy schedule and like all these like, you know, super crazy cool parties that you throw and you see these men and all the beautiful weddings you do.
You see these men.
You know.
Throw these parties and you see these men.
Yeah.
Boys.
Boys, young boys.
I guess I will say that my schedule, I'm usually working when everyone else is partying. So, you know, all my personal stuff has to happen when everyone else is like also chilling. You know, I'm like, hey,
What do you think of guys in LA compared to Toronto?
Oh, that's a good question, Boo.
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna make so many generalizations, but you know, when I was in Toronto for the last couple years, my boyfriend lived in New York, so I wasn't even dating
anyone.
Yeah, anyone from Toronto. But I mean, there's like great guys all over the place. I think. I don't know
but you
that
know what
many
though?
of them, but
Honestly, like I feel like I personally feel like there are so many great men everywhere. I'm married to
I
one.
wouldn't say so many.
There are so many.
no, there are.
There's more in some places than other places.
Is that true? Are these facts?
I don't know, but
We don't know these to be facts, but
I
it's how
do
we
feel like
it's valid.
Oh, maybe I'm just being stereotyping.
You found
but-
Alice as soon as you moved to LA.
Yes, I did.
You got lucky.
I got lucky. Yeah.
I got lucky too. But a lot of girls, it's harder coming to LA. Like when I first lived in LA, so like when I was 18, no, way different
Really?
experience. Yeah.
But do you think that's LA, or is it like social media, or is it just 2019?
You're right. We didn't have like, there wasn't dating apps when I was 18.
No, there wasn't. I think there was
wasn't
more like you're
Instagram.
going out to go meet people.
yeah.
And now it's such a swipe left, swipe right.
Yeah.
You know,
From the comfort
it's
of
just
your
like
couch.
insane.
Yeah.
You know, I rather just like, you never know though, right? At the end of the day, I really believe that there's one person for that person. Like, you know, regardless if it's this life or next life or whatever it is, right? So
I do. I can analyze how all my couples met, and it's a full mix. It's like through a friend, through the internet.
Yeah.
You know, we grew up together. So, and they're all getting married and glamming out. So, yeah. So
Wow.
it's
So there's
it's a
no one
full
answer.
Mix. There's no. I don't know.
There can't be one answer
I don't know.
anyways.
No.
I think the biggest difference is that there's different industries that
Yeah.
are based in Toronto versus LA.
LA.
So if you
That's what I think it is the industries really influence it.
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Like
New York's a lot of Wall Street guys, a lot of sooty guys. There's LA guys compared to New York guys, a whole different world.
Oh, it is. And even Toronto guys compared to
I don't know
American
Toronto
boys,
guys, that's why I'm like
completely
curious.
different. Like,
Yeah.
you know, their swag is different, the way they think is different. I feel like, you know, anyone that's from Toronto, they feel like they have to always control.
Really?
Oh yeah, or maybe the guys
Maybe
that
I'm
you know.
so controlling. That they're like, ah.
Yeah, I mean, like
They're like, shit.
my ex-boyfriend is full on like control. Well, maybe it's because he was Sri Lankan, so that's probably why. So I'm like, let me X that out.
Yeah.
Cut that. But a lot of my friends have relationships that are married. Most of the guys are like super controlling, like super controlling in my culture, you know. But they married out here. It wasn't an arranged marriage. It
Right.
was like you fall in love, you get married, but still they're super controlling. That's another topic that we should literally talk about.
That would be a whole other
A
thing.
full
yeah.
show
Whole nother-
on
We could do that when we're
Yeah.
doing the table spreads.
Yes.
Whatever.
Control and tabletop design.
But tabletop
Dinner.
control dinner.
I don't know.
Wait, hold on. Control tabletop designs dinner. No, I don't know. We'll make up something
Yeah.
for you guys. But thank you so much for
Thank you so
coming.
much.
I love you so much
Guys.
for
Could've
doing
talked
this.
for
You're
hours.
so busy. You're so busy. And thank you so much for letting us
Thank you.
interview
Wow,
you.
what a
And
hoot we had.
yes,
What a time.
right?
Yeah.
Hitting
But
around.
it's wonderful to see, friends that are so successful, because at the end of the day, like,
And doing something so different.
Yeah.
It's so different.
and you're so successful in what you do, and you're a genius in what you you are.
Yeah, no, you are.
Like, trust me. Like, the things
We're
that
not
you
the
put
only-
I do
together.
trust you.
The things that you put together, it's like mind blowing. Like, you know what I mean? Because you really have to have like such a different thought in terms of like taking a space and like, psh, it's like a magical wonderland when you walk in.
Yeah.
So you're an amazing, like you do so many great things. But yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Guys, well, hope you learned something.
I did. Yeah, I did.
So much.
Same.
What did you learn?
That you don't like controlling guys.
No, I don't.
Nope.
Who would? You
I
like,
don't.
you
I don't
wouldn't.
know. I don't know.
No, you're a psychopath. So
What?
we are all psychopaths in our own end.
She
I
calls me
definitely
one.
have
I call
some-
her one.
Ideas. I definitely know what I like.
Yeah, right. So
In
we
all areas.
in all areas.